It's Rhema Afternoons with Tom and Di. Anglican Financial Care seek to support the financial well-being of those in service to the Anglican Church. The organisation has been around for almost 50 years. Now, the Chief Executive of Financial Care, Margaret Bearsley, joins us on the show today to tell us more. So good to have you on the show, Margaret.
Good.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Now, before we get into the work of Anglican Financial Care, because I realise, there's quite a bit of scope to that, but I'd be interested in just hearing a little bit more about your journey, Margaret, and I understand it's involved an interesting one in regards to leadership. What can you tell us about this?
Yeah, sure. Well, leadership was a long way off my radar until more recent years, so I'll take you back to my checkered past. And I guess if I don't look too closely at it, just one thing seemed to lead to another. But really, when I think about it, there probably was quite a bit of providence involved. So I ran away from school as soon as I turned 15, and that's because I grew up in way out in the sticks in the Waikato and went to a tiny little rural primary school that took me all the way through to Form 2, which I think is year 8 these days, and then went to a secondary school in the city, in Wellington, and I did not cope with the change to the city culture. And so I left school as soon as I turned 15, but actually it was my identical twin sister who was the real rebel, because she was the one who said, we're not staying here. And so I just kind of tagged along behind her. And so Mum and Dad said, you can't leave school unless you've got a job. So she got a job. I found a job farming, and then I worked in a butcher shop, and I had a very blue collar background. And then in my early 20s, another sister and I worked in a coffee bar in Tauranga for a number of years. And then when we left there, I was kind of at a crossroads in my life, and I decided I needed to face up to something I'd run away from. So I decided to go to university. So in the late 80s, I went to Aotearoa University, and that's where I did my Bachelor of Theology. And then in the mid-90s, I put myself through law school at Waikato Law School. And so I began a professional career from there. I worked mostly in the public sector, mainly in the financial markets area. I had a long career at a Crown entity called the Takeovers Panel, and it was when I was working there that, after I'd been there for probably 10 years-ish, my board encouraged me to apply for the chief executive's role, which had become vacant. And I was not an ambitious person. I would never have put myself forward. But anyway, so I applied and I got the job. And a few steps over the years from there that have led me to here. So
wow. That is quite the journey, Margaret.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Anglican Financial Care. I know that there's just so much that you guys do. So let's delve into it. What is it? What do you guys do there?
Yeah, well, we were established in 1972, so actually we're just over 50 years old now. Yeah, we were set up to run the national pension scheme for the Anglican clergy. And then we quite quickly expanded that out because not all Anglican clergy are in a stipended role. They don't have a fully paid role, and it's only full-time stipended clergy that go into the pension scheme. And so there were all these Anglican church workers who didn't have a Christian organisation, for their savings scheme. So we set up a workplace savings scheme, and we expanded that out to church workers of all Christian denominations. Then KiwiSaver came on the scene in New Zealand in 2007, and we very quickly realised that the government benefits to encourage people into saving for their retirement was so good that we ought to, become a KiwiSaver provider. And so when we made that decision, we decided to open it out to all practicing Christians in New Zealand So I can talk more about the Christian KiwiSaver scheme maybe later on, because there are other things that we do at Anglican Financial Care. So it's not just the pension fund. We've got quite a role looking after it's widows and orphans. So we have an endowment. We do all our investments in-house, and so the income that comes from that endowment we use for various welfare and health and schooling needs for Anglican clergy families, not only in New Zealand but also in the Pacific, some of the Pacific Islands, because the Anglican province is of New Zealand and Polynesia. And so our schemes, including the pension fund, extends to about 8, I think it is, of the Polynesian islands.
Mm. Look, it's when it comes to navigating the financial landscape, I mean, it's interesting. There's a lot involved, and I guess a lot of times, we go through life and just work our way through it, but not really sort of. Yeah, I can see the need for the help for the assistance when it comes to managing these things and using them well. Let's just pick up on the KiwiSaver thing, though, because that's a really key part, and that's something that is really sort of embedded in our landscape at the moment. So, Margaret, let's talk about the Christian KiwiSaver scheme and what people need to know about this and why they should be considering it as an option. And I'm guessing this is the case whether they're new to the workforce or have been there for a long time, right?
Yeah, absolutely correct, because it's very easy to switch from your current provider to another provider. And so, so we were very experienced in financial matters, obviously, and it was an obvious choice for us to provide a KiwiSaver scheme. We're a restricted scheme provider. That means we have to have an identifiable kind of target market, so to speak. And so our audience, our market is committed Christians in New Zealand and those who work for Christian organisations, whether that's churches or charities. So, let me see. No, so why would people who are already in another KiwiSaver provider think about jumping to us? Well, I'm picking that your listeners will be committed Christians, and so everyone who's listening to this, you might want to. Billy Graham, I think, was famous for saying something along the lines of, "You show me your checkbook, and I will tell you where your priorities are, or I'll tell you what you believe in." And it's a little bit like that. It's a little bit like putting your money where your mouth is, right? Because what we do with our money is, I think, a key indicator of where our heart is. Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. And so people might want to switch to us because we're a Christian organisation. We are providing all of the proper, well-regulated KiwiSaver services. We've got our own in-house investment team, and we have an ethical investment policy that is specifically focused on belief in God. That's how we make our investment decisions. And so people who join our scheme, they will know that their money is invested through that lens, and it's kind of joining a community of fellow Christians who are putting their money where their mouth is.
Well, as we wrap things up, Margaret, and thank you so much for your time, by the way, if people want to find out more about Christian KiwiSaver scheme or Anglican Financial Care, where's the best place to go?
Yeah, well, jumping onto our website would be a great place to start. So for Christian KiwiSaver, just type christiankiwisaver.nz into your browser and you will go to our website. Same for Anglican Financial Care, which at the moment is running on a separate website. We are working on joining them together, but just search for Anglican Financial Care, you will find us.
Awesome.
All right. Very good. Margaret Bearsley with us, the Chief Executive of Financial Care with the Anglican Financial Care, of course. And look, really appreciate your time, Margaret, once again. Thank you.
Thank both of you and bless your work.
Thanks for joining us on Rhema. Now, if you found value in today's content, hit that like button. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to our channel with the subscribe button. This really helps us to continue to produce more quality content for you. And hey, if you'd like to stay updated and never miss any of our future videos, ring that notification bell as well. Don't forget to follow us on our other socials, which are in the description below. And until then, stay tuned.